It's not hard to understand that the world is ill prepared for the events that Yah has prepared for the future. The question might be asked, however, are Yah's own people prepared for what he's about to do? Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 2 of the special readings from Pesach. Let's return to Shemot, or Exodus chapter number 12, and begin reading in verse 29. And it came to be at midnight that Yahweh struck all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat on his throne, to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of livestock. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all of his servants, and all the Mitzrites, and there was a great cry in Mitzrayim, for there was not a house where there was not a dead one. Then he called for Moshe and Aaron by night, and said, Arise, go out of the midst of my people, both you and the children of Israel, and go, serve Yahweh as you have said. Get out of town. We've had enough. If we go back to chapter number 10 of this story, we find that Yah had warned in verse 3. He said, How long before you occupy yourself with being bowed down and afflicted before my face and realize you must let my people go that they may labor and work for me? What's it going to take, Pharaoh? How bad does it have to get before you understand I'm going to win? You cannot win. You can only lose. There was going to take a few more plagues. We find then that it was ultimately this last plague, the plague of the death of the firstborn, that brought about a sense of total reluctance on Pharaoh's part to continue this battle. He had to admit, Yah is just too great for me. Get out of here before we all die. What he was dealing with was Yah's using of darkness to overcome and to bring about light for his people. Think about that. We read news reports online, newspapers, magazines. We see reports on television. And it would seem that the world is not only sinking into a deeper, darker pit, but celebrating this downward journey, calling it enlightenment, calling it a fairer world, a more equitable world, etc. How far can man go in his depravity? I'm afraid to even ask that question. We have not yet seen the bottom of that quest. And so as man is continuing to deteriorate, to plumb the depths of debauchery, depravity, and darkness, Yah has his own way of using this darkness to bring about liberty for his people. So we can either look at all that is going on in the world around us, all of the upheaval in various nations that is taking place currently. We can become depressed and feel like I just want to hide in a room somewhere and not be involved. On the contrary, it's time to prepare for our deliverance. It's time to realize Yah is going to use the very darkness of mankind to bring about our liberty. The final 3 plagues, there was the plague of the locusts. The word says in chapter 10 that in verse 15 that they covered the surface of all the land so that the land was darkened. It's impossible perhaps for us to imagine just how thick the swarm of locusts was and what devastation that they brought about to the land. Then there was the 9th plague, the plague of darkness itself, that in verse 21 he says, Let there be darkness over the land of Mitzrayim, even a darkness which is felt. This was the darkness that was heavy upon the people, so that whether they were reclining in their beds or seated in a position, they couldn't get up for days. I mean, this was just an overwhelming, heavy darkness, and it brought great fear to them. But then it says, and our reading today in verse 29, it came to be at midnight, at the hour of great darkness, that Yah chose to move in the midst of the night and to bring about this ultimate devastation that would destroy Mitzrayim. If we go over to the book of Yochanan, John chapter number 3, verse 19 and following says, "And this is the judgment, that the light has come into the world, and men loved the darkness rather than the light, for their works were wicked. For everyone who is practicing evil matters hates the light, and does not come to the light, lest his works should be exposed. But the one doing the truth comes to the light, so that his works are clearly seen, that they have been wrought in Elohim." Brad Scott of blessed memory did a teaching on the battle that is upcoming from the War Scrolls, was I think the title of the teaching. The battle that is upcoming according to the writing of those living down at the Dead Sea in Qumran area. The Essenes wrote about the futuristic battle between the sons of light and the sons of darkness. There are those who are going to choose darkness, and out of that darkness, Yah is going to destroy them. But out of that same darkness, he is going to produce light that will bring healing to his people and ultimate deliverance. If we go over to the book of Romans, chapter number 13, Rav Shaul admonishes us in verse 12, "The night is far advanced, the day has come near. So let us put off the work of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light." If darkness is going to destroy those who are given to it, why would we want to be a participant in it? We don't want to do that. We want to be a different people. Pesach is about choosing which side you're going to be on. Eliyahu Hanavi, Elijah the prophet at Mount Carmel, asked the people, "How long will you," in various translations say halt, hop, jump. The word there is Pesach. How long are you going to jump over or jump back and forth between two opinions? If Baal is your God, serve him. If Yahweh is your Elohim, serve him. Make up your mind. That's what Passover or Pesach is about for us, choosing which side that we're going to ultimately stand on. Again, Rav Shaul's writings to the Thessalonica church in Thessalonians chapter number 5, verse 1 and following says, "Now, brothers, as to the times and the seasons, you do not need to be written to. For you yourselves know very well that the day of Yahweh comes as a thief in the night." They're in that darkness time. "For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them, as labor pains upon a pregnant woman. They shall not escape. But you, brothers," listen to what he says, "you are not in darkness, so that this day should overtake you as a thief." What else does he say? Verse 5, "For you are all sons of light and sons of the day. We are not of the night nor of the darkness. So then, we should not sleep as others do, but we should watch and be sober. For those who sleep, sleep at night, and those who get drunk are drunk at night. But we who are of the day should be sober, putting on the breastplate of belief and love, and as a helmet the expectation of deliverance. Because Elohim did not appoint us to wrath. The death messenger is not designed for us, but to obtain deliverance through our Master Yeshua Messiah." What powerful words to correlate then with the Pesach message. Pharaoh and his world systems as they currently exist are going to be greatly judged, and they're going to be brought to their knees. The people of Elohim, meanwhile, should expect light and not darkness, and deliverance and not continued bondage. We'll see you again tomorrow with more on these thoughts. Until then, shalom.